Meetings being live streamed.
And our reading and homily this morning will be presented by Reverend Diana Friedell. Thank you.
Good morning. You have tuned in to the Institute for Spiritual Development in Oneonta, New York. And I am the pastor, Reverend Diana Friedell. So the title of my homily this morning is Where Are We Now and Where Were We Before? So, move your thing a little bit to the side. Maybe I'll do that. Sorry.
That's okay.
Can you pull that a little bit? Yes. Okay, the first quote, first reading for today that I have is, "The bad news is you are falling through the air, nothing to hang on to, no parachute. The good news is there is no ground."
Yeah.
And that's from Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. The second reading is from Paul Selig, his guides. He's a channeler, very popular right now. So sometimes his is complicated, so listen carefully and let it float in what he's saying here. To realize the self at the level we teach is to comprehend that you are participatory to the reality you've known, as the consciousness you hold contributes to the very structure of it. You will not take an axe to the old structures. They will not be met that way. But when you lift higher, they will begin to move because they cannot be maintained at the higher strata of vibration that you are all coming to. Underline the word are. So I'll say that again. The old structures, things that don't work, will begin to move because they cannot be maintained at the higher strata of vibration that you are all coming to. This is actually occurring. And the confusion that most of you encounter is that you expect to be what you were, or what you saw, should be what you saw yesterday, when in fact all things are moving, and the structure of reality itself, the template that you have utilized to understand events, people, the idea of things, is all being shifted. So the structure and the template is being shifted. Now, a new page is being turned, yes, but it's to a higher life. And again, that's the guides through Paul Selig. Good morning. Today at ISD Oneonta, we're holding our annual meeting where we review our progress and assess where are we now. 7 years after our very first interest meetings at the Holiday Inn in Oneonta in November of 2016. And I just want to warn you, I'm going to talk about 2 naughty words. Religious and church. So now that you are appropriately prepared, I want to share an experience with you. Last Friday, I sat with a group of other Oneonta faith traditions at the mayor's welcome reception for newcomers to our hometown of Oneonta. I was passing out information about ISD and about the upcoming Shift New York Holistic and Psychic Fair. I had the honor of sharing the table with representatives from the Methodist Church, the Unitarian Universalist Society, and Temple Bethel. And even the Presbyterian Church pastor walked up and we had a good conversation. I was so proud to represent the 45 members of ISD Oneonta in the Faith Community Network. For your information, this network is, which ISD is a member of, is maintained by the Red Door Presbyterian Church for all faith traditions in Otsego County. And they inform us about important ways to help our community, like food banks and the Hunger Coalition, which ISD has raised funds for. And Maggie Kilbride has been our representative in the past for that organization. So by putting our heads together, we can make a big difference in helping those in need in our community. And interestingly, some faith traditions refuse to participate in this. They won't join. And that always makes me wonder, do they feel that their way is the one and only way to have a divine experience, which may be it, but maybe there's more. They're not here to defend themselves. So while I was at the faith table, a woman said to me, first of all, we had many lovely conversations with people. But one woman came quickly up to the table, and I was telling her about the shift fair, and she said, I don't believe in psychics. I believe in Jesus Christ. And before I could say, yeah, I do too, or have a conversation to see what we have in common, she walked on. We did tell her about the other faith traditions at the table, but I don't think any of them would have fit what she was looking for. Those people who are not at the table of the interfaith committee. And so just as the word psychic is a no-no or a non-starter, a very bad word, in some fundamentalist Christian faiths, the word religious has become a dirty word in metaphysical circles. And going back to ISD Oneonta's auspicious beginnings, I'm going to the where were we before part of this talk. And in 2016, my sister, Sue Landon, and I held 2 interest meetings at the Holiday Inn in Oneonta. And we thought we would be happy if 10 people came. But no, there was a total of about 75 people who came. There was about 200 who signed up to come, but it was snow on both days. And so, and many of you attended those very first meetings. We had filed a petition with ISD National. We're feeling really good to start a new chapter with a study group. And we had 30 signatures on it in December of 2016. It became pretty apparent we didn't need to have just a study group, because that's how they recommend you start. We could start with a church service. So our very first organizational gathering was right here in what is now ISD headquarters, Tom and Sue's living room. And from that group of 30 people sitting in a circle that day, we formed our very first board so that we could set up the appropriate nonprofit structure that New York State asks for. Kristen Niles agreed to step up and be president, and presented us all with tiaras, which we wore at our second organizational meeting. We found our Dietz Street rental location, and we were able to pay startup expenses because of money that we donated from the Shift New York Holistic and Psychic Fair. Quickly, people started joining as members, and by April, we had the support of 21 members. We have about 45 now. Our very first spiritual service was held on March 17th, 2017. Jackie Madden and Tim Keyes and I jumped right into formulating our very first healing program based on the model of other chapters of the Institute for Spiritual Development that are based in Sparta and Washington, D.C. At the time, I had what we always like to call ourselves spiritual, but not religious, friends say to me, so you're opening a church? Like church itself was a dirty word. And understandable, really. The word church carries a lot of baggage with it. It reminds us of bad experiences we've had as kids in Sunday school or as adults, with someone telling us what to do, what to believe, and we don't like that. It's in many people's nature to feel rebellious when someone authority tells us what we need to believe. In the attempt to teach people that they have a divine nature and that there is a mind-body-soul connection, many religions have made a recipe for how to experience that mind, body, and soul connection and get right with God. In the process of trying to follow these recipes, our own divine connection can be snuffed out. So say these words, light these candles, wear this piece of jewelry, wear this hat, and you will experience higher consciousness. And we are told you can only get a relationship with God or an expanded awareness of your soul if you say these words and you do this secret handshake and join this club. So in our search for a more fulfilling life, how many of us have gone to a new church? We try to follow those directions and we get the experience of trying rather than transcendence. It's an experience that is very hard to make a recipe for, as you know, as anybody who's kind of reached that state of transcendence, and it's kind of illusory and kind of hard to get it back when you want it. And when someone does succeed and reaches that beautiful state of a higher consciousness, and they've had their own personal experience with God or angels or some kind of amazing transformation, and their lives start to improve, well, they're going to stick with that particular recipe like mad, because that works. And then they're going to tell everyone else that this is the one way to get there. This is the one true way, and you must do it my way. So you can see from their point of view, especially some of the faith traditions that were not at the table and don't join a group effort in Oneonta, the interfaith group effort. You can see from their point of view that it is impossible to join a network of faith traditions if you believe that your faith tradition is the only one that's right. Wow, that was a long way around to saying that ISD Oneonta presents many different paths to enlightenment. And we pride ourselves in being this structure and giving the learning so that you can find your own path. We are the ladder, the stairwell for your journey, but the journey is yours. We believe here at ISD, the one right path is the one you discover on your own journey to enlightenment. But why do we call it a church? People still ask us. After all, astrology and many spiritual leaders say that we are currently in a time of great change. Old systems that no longer work are being left behind in politics, in religion. They're being left behind with these changing winds. New energies are having our souls ascend and evolve in new ways. When these changes do occur, where will we be after all the bed sheets are shaken out? Is traditional church one of those faulty systems that will be shaken out? Does that mean that we should ditch the church, throw the baby out with the bathwater? Or are we here to work with those new energies and evolve with them and continue our mission? No matter what we call it, church or not, we have had a strong spiritual community during these changing times, and we have support available to us and consistent reminders of our higher purpose and goals here at ISD to help us live a happier, more meaningful life. Our spiritual community at ISD, and we can substitute any name here, our spiritual life here at the Methodist Church, our spiritual life here at the Baptist Church, our spiritual life here at the Hebrew Temple, can provide a sense of belonging and guidelines for ethical living. At ISD, thanks to 6 years of working hard and playing hard, hundreds of people who are searching for greater meaning and a connection to their divine gifts of healing and intuition have found what they are looking for here at ISD. We provide the framework, all of us, through classes, practicing together in sacred circles, special events, meetings, and fun. We've done it. You've all played your part in creating something much bigger than any of us could have accomplished alone. Are we the only ones who have the answer and the right path to follow to get your life together? It's a trick question. The answer is no. That's why we belong to the Faith Coalition of Otsego County. Now, looping back to the beginning of my talk, friends from other faiths, we all had one thing in common. We are all spiritual leaders, and we're born to make the world a better place as spiritual leaders in whatever faith tradition we choose for ourselves. There is no room at the table for ego and for me to decide that I know more than you do. Paul Seelig states from the Book of Truth, again, what am I to learn? Puts you in a position of humility and authority in any instance. I'll read that again. When you say to yourself, what am I to learn? Puts you in any instance. In other words, Buddhists come with me, and they are certain they know everything. I say, repeat after me. I don't know what I don't know. Can you say that? Can you say that, please?
Don't know.
Yeah, what I don't know. The minute you start to get really locked into an opinion and you realize you're being a bit of a, you know what? Find yourself saying, I don't know what I don't know. There may be something here that I don't know. So that's a good way to keep a fresh mind. So, hey, hello faith communities of all kinds. Let's keep doing what we do best, inspiring people to live their best life, be good to one another, flow with the new energies, and honor the fact that there are many paths to the divine. Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
And you can say goodbye to this. And I'll close. Yeah. Should have fit in my
Yes.
Okay.
Now we'll say goodbye to Facebook and remind you about the Shift Fair. And
Next weekend.
yeah, this next weekend, check out shiftnewyork.com for more information. Moment here, do I get my mouse?
We'll see you next time.
Yes. As we move to the prosperity portion of our service,